All right, and we are live. Hello.
Yay. Hello.
So
Hi,
excited to have
Cindy.
you on my channel. Yeah, my name's Cindy. This is my channel, and I'm so excited to have. Now, do you go by Kristina or Tina in like real life?
In real life, I have many names, but mostly Kristina, but in the online teaching world, mostly Tina. So either way, it's fine.
How's your Tina? Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell you before we get into our interview, on behalf of myself and the many, many teachers out there, thank you for all your awesome videos.
Oh.
And thank you for your help to us and just being, I have this little thank you note for you.
Thank you for that. Thank
So,
you for thanking me.
thank you. So I'm so excited to thank you personally, for all your awesome videos and being an example to us of how to do the VIPKid job, but also how to do YouTube, because watching your videos kind of inspires us to do YouTube and to take the chance of who knows what could happen, right?
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching what I've done and for your kind words. I really appreciate that it doesn't fall on deaf ears when I share things. It's nice to hear.
Yeah. It's really
Yeah.
cool to talk to you in person too.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of since this is a time that is kind of a little bit unusual.
Yeah.
I have friends that said, "Oh, I can't do it. I can't watch live, but I'll watch the playback." I have a
Sure.
lot of people that watch the playback, so I kind of act like they're actually here and stuff.
Sounds good.
So yeah. So my first question to you is, maybe we could just start where, since I knew you from VIPKid, like how did you get into VIPKid? You can kind of give us like the Reader's Digest version if you want.
Yeah, sure. So I started with VIPKid a little over 4 years ago. So my husband and I had recently moved. I was hoping to get a job that would be really flexible. I had done student teaching, like I went to school for Spanish and K through 12 education, but my student teaching was a really lousy experience and it kind of scared me away.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, well, I wanted to be a teacher, but I don't want to be in a normal classroom, so I don't know where that leaves me. So I had actually gotten away from teaching for a bit, for a few years. And then, when we moved a little over 4 years ago, I was looking for teaching jobs that wouldn't require me to be in a classroom. And I saw a post about VIPKid, and I was like, I didn't know this was even a thing that people did. And so I pursued it, and I just fell in love with online teaching, and just how it made the world such a more connected place. It blew my mind, and it still blows my mind that I can be in real time talking with a student on the opposite side of the world. And so I just fell in love with that. I fell in love with the students. I started, sharing helpful tips or things that I thought were helpful on my YouTube channel, which I had never planned on making a YouTube channel. It's not like that was always a goal I had or something. I knew that, there seemed to be a lot of VIPKid teachers and there weren't very many helpful videos out there. And I thought, you know what, I bet with the background that I had with some interviewing and things like that, I thought I could be offering some helpful tips to prospective teachers. So that's kind of what got me into that world. And then, my role has just kind of evolved over time to, I still teach students, but also helping teachers. That's a really big passion of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I know I watched a lot of videos. Like, I didn't really know about the job either. And then when I saw it was a possibility, I had to watch the videos because I had no idea what I was doing. So, I think I kind of went a little overboard at first and kind of pulled back on my animated, teaching style. But
right. And everyone's different too. Yeah. I know, certain companies expect a certain level of energy or certain skill set or certain, you have to use this many props or this much CPR. But ultimately different teachers have different teaching styles. So it's not even like every company is a perfect fit for everybody. So I think that's something I've really enjoyed over the years, is just realizing like, okay, you want to teach, but your style's more like this. Maybe this is a better direction for you, because there are lots of great opportunities out there. It's just helping people find the right one for them and for their family and what they want to do. So, yeah.
I found that, sometimes some parents like that energy and the animation, and some parents are kind of like, that's too much type of thing. So I think they find the style of teacher that they want. So that kind of works for everyone. So how many classes are you still teaching for VIPKid?
No, I haven't taught with VIPKid in several months. I teach on Outschool. And then there's an ESL company that I'm helping. It's a startup. I'm helping it get kind of up and running. Technically, it was up and running last year, but we're really hiring teachers now. So I'm also teaching some ESL students through that company. So like this morning, I had 3 ESL students in the morning, and then I had 3 Outschool classes in the afternoon. So that's kind of where I'm operating right now, is kind of like piecemealing stuff together in a way that works for me and works for my students.
Okay. So my question, I didn't think of that till now, but like my question is like, do you work your day according to the hours that you can work or how much money you want to make? Like, I think you kind of have to decide which one is the avenue you're trying to go, especially in school. You make your own schedule.
Right, of course. I would say for me, it's more so what hours I'm willing and able to work. I do appreciate that I have consistent income coming in, because like on Outschool, my classes are recurring classes that, happen every week. They're clubs. And they're pretty much always full. There's one that's an older age group that's not as full. But anyway, I kind of have come to get used to a consistent level of income with that. And it happens every week, and then, so I feel like my income is fairly consistent on that front. And then, if I ever wanted to add more classes, I could do that and could, hopefully make more money if I need to do that. So I really appreciate that flexibility. But it's absolutely, Cindy. Some people are like, I need to reach this monetary goal. So however many classes I can get to get that goal, it is 2 different kind of ways of looking at it. So that's interesting. And I like to hear stories about how people are like, trying to pay off certain loans or things like that, and like have a really tangible goal. I think that's great.
Because I just started an in-person teaching job.
Oh, nice.
So now my Outschool, I don't want to give up the students that I have. But it's been kind of hard to figure out when to put those classes. And I don't push them for students. Like I have a few students, that's okay for me.
Sure.
So I have a whole different outlook on it now, which is kind of nice. But I'm interested in looking at what other people do, how they schedule, that kind of thing. So what kind of classes are you teaching on Outschool?
So my classes, so I've taught a couple different over the past year and a half, but what I've just settled into a routine of teaching is girls chat club. So it's just a social club. We play games like 2 Truths and a Lie. And it's really just to get them talking to each other, to help them, foster friendships. So many of these students have not really been able to get together with their friends or make new friends because they haven't been going to school, and so it's really a good opportunity for them. A lot of them are also homeschooled, like by choice. And so they're not meeting as many students in their community. And so it's a really good way for them to get to meet each other. And then we also focus on different social skills, like how can you be a better listener? How can you ask better questions? So every month we have like a different focus, and then we do activities that reflect those goals. And then I kind of circle back around to them every like 6 months or so. That's really so it's really fun.
But the kids can't really communicate with each other off of Outschool, right? That's kind of like
sometimes parents can make connections, and I have helped parents make connections. But they discourage, for safety reasons. I totally understand. They discourage students from directly like being like, "Hey, what's your phone number?" in a class. And they do try to do that, and I have to be like, I'll have your parents send me a message.
Because if you're trying to foster friendship, they're thinking, what if I don't meet this kid again or whatever.
Right. Yeah. So some of having like for example, my students who have the Thursday 2 p.m. class, like it's pretty much the same students every week. So they at least get to be together for half an hour a week. One of my clubs is a full hour long. So they do get that, but it is hard to, if you're in a group of 8 students, to really get close to somebody when you're in a group and there are 8 people, so I do.
Can parents contact each other?
They should be able to. I've helped a couple parents figure that out, which has been nice and helpful for sure. And then what was I going to say? Oh yeah, there you have the option, since Outschool's on Zoom, you can use breakout rooms. And so like today, the class I just finished, I had them in 2 groups of 4, and then I switched half of them halfway through, not for the whole class, but I had them each share something for 2 minutes, and then I'd send them a message like, switch to the next girl, switch to the next girl. So just kind of like giving them prompts, because sometimes if you have students, like I've found that I really typically have like 2 different camps of learners in my girls chat club. It's like the girls who are really shy and need help talking, and then I have the girls who the parents are like, please talk to somebody else for half an hour. Like you talk so much. And so it's kind of figuring out how to like balance and make sure they're taking turns and that sort of thing. So it's been fun. It's been challenging at times. But I've set some expectations, and they do a pretty good job of, taking turns and learning as they go, which is very impressive.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa, for coming. I wanted to just like at least acknowledge in here.
Oh, I love Lisa.
Yeah, and then Jason, he always watches my videos. I interviewed him last week. He's still doing VIPKid. He also teaches like in person, and he's doing some new ventures as well. So yeah, tell us about the new company. Yeah, I watched a little bit of Evelyn Joy's interview. So
nice. So it's called Story House English. Hello, Rebecca. Yeah. And it is a Christian ESL startup. I specify that it's Christian because we are looking for teachers who are Christian, who kind of share that worldview. It's not that we are teaching a Christian curriculum or anything like that. But yeah, we are new. So before we started hiring August, it was not last August, like a month ago, August. I guess we had about 5 teachers, and now we've got about 15 or so. So we're like gradually, we don't want to grow too fast, and we don't want to go beyond, we're thinking 40 teachers total. So like, I just want people to know, like, this is not going to be like VIPKid where you are disposable as a teacher, for better or worse. But, like we're really looking for people who are like wanting to be a part of a team and a part of something bigger than themselves. And so anyway, we are a Christian ESL startup. Because teachers are expected to bring their own students, most of them end up being in China. That's just kind of where most people are, bringing their students from. And classes are typically 50 minutes. We do have the 25-minute option as well, and it's based on storytelling. And so, a typical class, people are always like, what does that even look like? So there are like 3 pieces to the typical class. I say typical because we have so much flexibility. If you only get to one of them, that's fine. But like a typical class, so you would have conversation in the beginning of the class, just kind of chatting, catching up. If you notice something in your student's background, you'd be like, oh, what is that? Can you tell me about that? How you would probably normally have a conversation with somebody you're meeting or getting to know better. So a conversation, and then we have preparation is next. So conversation, then preparation. So preparation is what the student prepared ahead of time. So most of our students will choose to do that. So they'll write, maybe a couple paragraphs, or I have some younger students who will write me like 7 sentences about a topic. Typically we would hope that they would tell a story about something. For my younger learners, they kind of just like, I have a cat. My cat is named this. It's like not really a story, more like this is just information. But anyway, so the student would prepare that ahead of time. is the teacher's choice whether you would send corrections and feedback before class, or you would kind of go over it together, but your student would basically recite the story to you. Then you can talk about it more. And then, so we had first the conversation, and then we had the preparation, which was what the student did ahead of time and then presented to you. And then we have observation. So that's when our teachers would share some kind of reading material, right? So it could be just a document that you just drop in the chat box. We use either Skype or Zoom. And the student would just read for you, right? So it might just be a short story. Since I have so many young learners, I just keep a bunch of books, like very little books here with me. And then I will either hold it up, or I have this nifty Mirror Me This device. And I will, it's going to probably be backwards on this stream, but I will either hold it like that. So there are like different ways.
Works, yeah.
Yeah, lots of different ways that you can get your student reading.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, there a very nice gentleman named Isfan sent it to me and wanted me to try it out. So it has some like prototype stuff on it, but it's super cool. So
that's like a how does that work?
Yeah, so it's almost like a periscope.
Oh,
you know, that you would be able to see outside.
Okay. It kind of,
yeah.
Instead of using something like this, like you're doing a mirror.
Yeah. Basically, it's just flipping whatever's on your keyboard. So it's very cool.
Yeah, because I'm doing in person, but we have 3 kids that drive so far that they only come 3 days a week. And so the other 2 days we have to do Zoom. And I tried to put a quiz up, on the screen, and it was like, okay. And so I've done Outschool, and I'm like, I think I know everything, but there's always something new, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, like I found that to be a helpful tool, whatever works for you, like as a teacher, but yeah, so that's kind of what, in a nutshell, Storyhouse English is startup, and we're growing, but not trying to grow too big. And we're being very selective in who we bring on, because we really want it to be successful and we want people to feel supported. So
right, that is really cool. I love it.
Thanks, Cindy.
So now I think you said with Evelyn there was like a minimum amount of hours you wanted people to work.
Yeah. So ideally, teachers would be teaching at least 12 hours a week. And, that could kind of average out. If there's a week where you do more and a week that you do less than that's fine. But that's kind of what we would hope teachers would strive for. And like I said, we do expect teachers to bring their own students. That's just the business model. That's, we're not advertising in China. It's just like whatever connections teachers already have. This gives them the opportunity to use the resources that we have, use the community, use the different logistical stuff that we have set up, like payments and scheduling. All that stuff is like taken care of, and then, so the teachers would be bringing their own students, which is nice because a lot of these teachers already have these relationships, and they're just kind of like, well, what's next? Like a lot of these companies are kind of dwindling, but we don't want to stop having, this student and to have my student lose progress. And so anyway, it's kind of a nice next step, I think, for a lot of teachers is, well, since that chapter is closing anyway, maybe consider another chapter. And certainly Storyhouse is not going to be the perfect fit for everybody. But for some people it will be. And so it's exciting. And I encourage all teachers to like consider what all is out there, and whether you think it will fit well with what you want, with how many hours you want, with the situation you have. Like, do you have students you're bringing? Do you hope that a company would give you students? There are lots of different things to consider in that regard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that's so exciting. So do you so it looks like you're planning on continuing working with other students or with teachers, like and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hope to. I mean, a lot of what I've done the past few years has been helping teachers get hired for ESL companies. Primarily VIPKid, but also a couple other companies, and then also Outschool, which is not an ESL company. So a lot of what I've done is kind of, giving people feedback on their pictures and giving them tips and reviewing things with them, practicing skills with them. So like, that chapter's kind of closing, or it seems to be closing, as most companies are not hiring anymore.
Right.
But I think it's also a really good time for people to pivot and maybe consider what else is out there and what maybe untapped passion they have.
That's true.
So yeah, I think it's bad and good in a lot of ways.
I think a lot of it is like, if you've been with VIPKid, at first I was really stressed about all the rules and all the, stipulations and all the like, oh, you only get 6 cancellations, I have to be on time. And then after a while you get used to it. But I think with all these other companies, it's more like, it relies more on your own creativity. And that's where I think it gets to be like, some people are creative faster than others.
Yeah, for sure. And, just thinking about like Storyhouse English, this startup company, like, I think there are some people who would thrive in that environment and some people who would be terrified in that environment. Like, people who are very good at like going with the flow and like, okay, if we don't get to that, that's fine. Like, very flexible, I think will do well on a platform like ours. But people who are like, I need to get exactly this much done. And, like this world takes both types. And there are certain companies that do need that type of teacher, So yeah, it is.
So Luann says that she's learned that the world is bigger than China. I just had an ESL student from Saudi Arabia.
Wow.
Yeah, some people are doing ESL right on Outschool. So
yeah, I have heard about that. I have a student on Outschool in my girls' chat club who lives in Turkey. So that's been interesting.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. You just never know what's. I have a student actually that I did a music class, like a piano class. It was a class, and I had 4 students. It was my very first time, so I was like 4. I was going for 6, but I got 4. And then after 1 month, I did a 1-month class with 3 days a week. Then I did another month class with 2 days a week. And then I offered private lessons, and I ended up with 1 kid that has kept me. And his dad is Chinese, his mom is German.
Wow.
And I've had him all summer until now and doing piano, and now they want him to do voice lessons. But it's amazing how like they want me as a teacher.
Yeah.
And then they're like, why don't we try another type of thing? And where it's just one-on-one, it's perfectly fine, But it is exciting to get to know people, and you just don't realize how much of a bond you can grow with people and how it grows you as a person as well,
Absolutely.
So
yeah, I've learned so much. Like, I'm confident. Well, maybe my students would disagree. I feel like I've learned more from my students than they probably learned from me, just culturally and just, I don't know how to
take situation. It's really awesome. I love being a teacher. It's just great.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk too a little bit about your online group that you have. Like, I know at the very beginning I was able to be on it, and then I just have kind of not been on it recently, but I really love the effort that you're putting into the Christian community of, I guess it's teachers, right? Maybe teachers from companies and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, I'd love to. So it's called Online Teacher Christian Fellowship. So it used to just be for VIPKid teachers, but we realized that we were getting inquiries from people from other companies, and we decided to expand. So now it's just any online teachers. So Online Teacher Christian Fellowship. So we do quite a lot as a community. The most popular or most used things that we do are we have fellowship calls. So there are 3 different fellowship calls each week. So most people would just come to one of the calls every week as like a consistent accountability type of thing. So on the calls, we, kind of just pal around for a little bit in the beginning because we're all pretty friendly with each other and we love new people to come. So we do that for a little bit, and then we dive into the Bible study that we've been doing as a group. So we use the Bible app, and we have different studies that we go through as a community. And certainly, people will kind of branch off and do their own studies with other members in the group. But like our kind of overarching consistent thing that we do is that we have these fellowship calls. So then we'll discuss the Bible study that we're doing. We pretty much always end in prayer. So it's just a really great time to get together with other believers. And just be like consistently showing up with each other, like we know what's going on in each other's lives. We have a Facebook chat for each of the calls that like the regular attendees are a part of. So we have, like our Tuesday morning Facebook group message, so like if, I don't know, something happens and the host is not able to be there on time, like you can send a quick message, it's just kind of a way also to follow up between calls, from one week to the next, like, oh, hey, thanks for praying for my uncle. He's doing better, that sort of thing. So that's one big thing that we do. We also recently started doing something called coffee chats, which are much more casual, less focused, and really just a time to hang out with each other. And then we do small groups and studies. So those are kicking off again this fall. So anybody who's in the group or would like to join the group, I encourage you to check that out.
Okay, so how can they get in, like if they've never done it before, what would they do?
Yeah, so just look for Online Teacher Christian Fellowship on Facebook. Okay. It's also in my Instagram profile. It's like near the top in my profile link tree. But yeah, it's a really, really great community. The leadership team really cares about, how the community is doing. We just had a leadership call today to discuss what we could be doing better to serve people and make people feel welcome. And so we're totally open to any suggestions people have. But yeah, it's like an interdenominational, like we all have Jesus as the focus,
right.
And so like there are some Facebook groups where it's like about teaching, but they're all Christians. This is kind of that flipped on its head. Like we all teach, but the focus is on Jesus, and so we're talking about Bible studies and how we can encourage each other. And hey, I'm having a really tough time. Anybody have some scripture for me? That sort of thing. So it's really an amazing community. I adore.
How many people do you think are in there?
This morning, I think there were 800 and so. Now, not everybody is super involved.
Yeah.
I would say we probably have about 50 people who are very consistently involved. And then some people who just kind of check in from time to time or who just comment on things on Facebook but don't come to calls. Like, so there's some people are very involved and some are not so involved.
Okay. Yeah, because I usually get an email, but it's like, I should probably get back into it because I know there's like a morning. Thank you. There's like a morning, like I think I did a Tuesday morning for a while. Yeah. And then it opened up like a evening, right? A Thursday evening.
So Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, and Thursday evening.
Okay.
We have right now. So different hosts for them all, different groups of people who come. So it's really awesome.
The fact of, the support for each other and prayers for each other. Yes. And I gravitated to the VIPKid Christian group because I was a little nervous, like, should I teach kids in China? I was a little bit like, is this okay kind of thing? And I realized that, there's things going on maybe with the governments, but we're all still people and they need us and we need them. We need that to know we're all humans and we're all just, kind of stuck in a situation that not all of us really like. So you make the best of it, right? So I just decided that I'm going to treat them like people, just like I want to be treated. And, I think it shows them that we are just people like them. There's no, I don't have any animosity toward the people over there. And so it kind of is breaks down some barriers, I think.
For sure.
I've just really loved it. It's been like the most amazing thing for me, but I am so thankful that I learned so much and I can apply it to new things and it opens up my teaching world. It gives me a new perspective on teaching as well. That, you know, before I was so concerned about like the content, you know, you need to learn this stuff, you know, it's so important. But on the other hand, the content isn't as important as the person you're talking to, right?
For sure. Absolutely.
You know, if you're totally turning them off, they're not going to listen. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, so it's been great. So thank you, yeah, for setting that up. The
Of
fellowship
course.
calls. That's a great thing.
Yeah. I help with leadership, but I am certainly not like, it's not a one-man show. You know, like there are a lot of people who are working really hard to make that a really pleasant place for people, to encourage people. And so yeah, it's an honor to be a part of it. And I just, you know, I encourage people, if you're even mildly interested, come check it out. You know?
Yeah, that's a great thing. I thank you for that.
Yeah.
So what would you say your goals are for like the future, and like what, I know you're kind of a goal-oriented person, so
Yeah. Well, there are some goals I can't really talk about yet. I'll announce that in the fall.
Cool.
But
Thank you so much.
yeah. so yeah, so that's something. But besides that, I'm kind of in a place where I'm still kind of figuring out what my goals are going to be, because like I said, I see this as a natural pivot point, but I'm not ready to let go of that ESL stuff, you know, like, and I don't think I have to. So for the time being, you know, I'm still helping with the ESL company. And I would like, you know, we have certain goals as a team that we would like it to grow at a certain pace, and, you know, have certain things that we're offering to the parents and the students. And so, you know, I have goals there, and then, you know, just goals, you know, I help in the community. I serve at a pregnancy resource clinic. So I kind of envision, I've been primarily helping Spanish speaking clients who don't speak any English. And so I've been trying to think, how can I better help these women and equip them so that they're less reliant on English speakers to help them figure stuff out, and they can kind of figure things out for themselves, and kind of take ownership of that. And so I've been kind of like, just the past month or so, trying to kind of shake out those goals. So I wish I could be like, my goal is to have this by this date and that by that date, because in the past my goals would look more like that.
Right.
But now it's just like, I'm kind of just figuring it out. You know?
That's interesting. Yeah. I would really like to see a like VIPKid, but not VIPKid to Chinese, more like that platform, but in a Christian school type thing, where people could say, I want to learn, we'll do history online, kind of like Outschool, but for Christians. But I know there are, like LumaLearn is available, but I didn't think their platform was very easy to deal with. Where you can schedule maybe even if the same curriculum, because I think the VIPKid is awesome, because like, say as a parent, you want to do a month of classes and you want to have Teacher Tina, but Teacher Tina is, you know, on vacation for a couple weeks. Somebody else can jump in and do those classes, and you don't really, your kid doesn't really miss out.
Right.
I think that would be awesome. Could you do it for us?
Oh, that was a pitch. I don't know. I mean, I've certainly thought about things like that. You know, I think the older I've gotten, the more I've realized how much work goes into something like that.
True. That is true.
You know, and so it's not like I don't think that's a fantastic idea, and I wouldn't be excited about it and like want to go full force with it. But I just, with some other things I have coming, I just
maybe somebody's working on it. Like, so for me, I'm teaching at a Christian school, and you know, it's just so nice to be able to like talk to the kids. Like, I'm teaching geometry and they're like, you know, I'm never going to see this again in my life. And I'm like, you know, but thinking skills, you know, we got to work on, this is about thinking skills, not just about geometry. And you can kind of bring in how important it is to be able to do critical thinking or, and count for yourself and, all these things that are kind of going by the wayside, and it's just, I don't know. I just look at their faces and I think of how much they're going to face, and it just, it's really, it's really hard to. Today, I almost did have to leave and cry because these kids are so young, and what we're doing as adults is affecting them.
Absolutely.
It's important. Like, I love teaching, but I like being able to bring in a spiritual lesson, like I talked to them about Daniel today and how he, stood up and did what was right, even though he was young, and God rewarded him for that. So it is an awesome thing, and when that part of you is kind of like tied up, it just doesn't seem right,
I agree. That's something that I struggle with on Outschool, is that I'm not able to really share overtly my faith. Like there are rules against it. You could get fired for doing so. And so if a student asks me about something, I'm not going to shy away from it. But like you said, we're trying to teach them, like, critical thinking and that type of thing. I think in any topic of any grade level, you can start teaching that, but yeah, it is really hard to feel like the most important part of you is stifled, so that's something that I really enjoy about Storyhouse English. It's like, you're fine. Storyhouse, it's like, if you want to go there, you can, like, we are such a small operation. We are not based in China, like, we have a lot more flexibility than teachers would have on other platforms. So yeah, but it's so hard to feel like that's just like tied up and you want to share it, but you can't, like, it's so nice to have that freedom.
Yeah.
Rebecca requested to join. Yay. I can't wait to hear you there.
Yeah, and Luann, that was my most difficult struggle, mental health field. Yeah, she's an interesting person. She had to take a break from the mental health field, which I don't blame her, because I always said, I'd love to help people, but sometimes if that was what I did all day long was in mental health, I don't think I could handle it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Person.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a psychiatrist, and I'm like, I don't know how you do this all day. Like, I think being, I've often, when I was growing up, like, people would say I was overly sensitive. Like, I would get upset on other people's behalf and stuff like that. But I think that also is good in some regards, but I don't think I really could do a job like that well, because I would just take on their problems and just like get so buried under them.
Yes. I have a daughter like that. People would tell her all their problems, and I'd be like, you can't do that. You can't, try to shoulder everybody's problems.
Right.
But the thing is, they do also give good tools. Like, they know how to help people. I'm sure that's rewarding when it does, when you do see results.
For sure. Oh, that's gotta be super rewarding. Yeah.
It's great. Well, I appreciate you coming. Do you have anything else that I didn't say that you might want to talk about or share with us?
I want to say that sometime I'm going to try making bread using your methods. I saw a video and I was like,
which
so
one?
Cool, and I never did it.
Yeah, which one was it?
It was like you were talking about how to make like the start or use the starter and then
the sourdough starter.
Yeah, sourdough. And I was like, I love sourdough, but I just never did it.
It was good. It's a good thing that would be a good thing to teach even on Outschool.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
I had taught bread on Outschool, but during the shutdown and everything, like, sometimes you go to the store and you could find flour and no yeast.
Right.
And so it's good to know how to make things with substitute things. I was just talking to somebody about that because she has also stomach issues. And so I was telling her that the sourdough bread actually is better for you because it's kind of like worked through some of that the fermentation is good for your body, whether it's sourdough or other fermentation as well.
Right.
So that is a really cool study.
Cool. Yeah.
So.
That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for what you share. And
well, thank you. And one thing I love is, and Luann is here, but she and I did a video where we made a cornucopia. And that is really fun too. You take the bread dough and you make it around like you make a cone with foil, and then you put the bread around it, and then you bake it, and then you can use it for a centerpiece for Thanksgiving. So
okay, I'm gonna have to look up that video after we're done here.
Yeah, I've done that with my home ec students, and they go, cornucopia, what's that? And they think it's really weird. But then when they make it and then they take it home and they actually use it as a centerpiece, and everybody tells them how amazing it is, then they're hooked. Every year we make a cornucopia.
I would assume you eat it too, right? Like
you could. I don't usually eat it because you kind of like you bake it on low, so it's pretty hard, but it's totally edible.
That's so cool.
Fill it with, you could put fruit in it, like for a centerpiece. When people come in, you put fruit in it, or crackers and cheese, or even your dinner rolls for the day or whatever.
So cool.
Yeah. So Luann said hers looked like a big fish.
Love big fish. Well, hey, that's kind of cool too. Pescatarian Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So it was really fun. So we did it online, and she, just like this, only we made the cornucopia together. So that was really fun.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thanks for having me, Cindy. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. And
absolutely,
I really appreciate it. And this is a highlight of my day to be able to be in person. I know lots of my friends are gonna come back and watch the video, the replay, we call it.
Well, hi, friends.
Thank you so much, and I'll see you around. Watch out for your fall news, whatever it might be.
Yeah. Sounds good. That's all I'm giving you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Bye.